Yes, sir.
So why'd you guys pick this pay-per-view, the 2000 Royal Rumble?
If I can go ahead, I will say that I think that the year 2000 is the best year creatively in all of WWE.
Wow. Really? Over 99?
Over 99, over 98, over any year that you want to put up against it, 2000 was like that.
Hmm.
So it's Rumble season. It's the start of the year 2000. It's when everything starts fresh. I think that it's like the perfect pay-per-view to be reviewing.
Nah, for me,
Y2K.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it just happens to be one of my favorite rumbles. Like
Mhm.
everyone goes on about their 99s and their 01s, but 2000 has a special place in my heart.
Why is that? Why do you think that is? Is it just because like you just happen to be watching it during that time, super hardcore, or what?
Um, the matches are fun to me.
Hmm.
The table match between the Hardys and the Dudleys, I think really kicks off what the 2000s kind of brings, especially
Hmm.
moving forward through what then will become like a TLC match the following year, and so on and so forth. So it sets that up, and then it also gives you a look into what the main event picture kind of looks like without Stone Cold at the moment. With
Mm.
leading up to Mania with the McMahon in every corner.
Hmm.
So and Triple H being the guy at the time,
Yeah.
huge
And
Triple
for
H.
me, it being like 25 years ago, damn, it is 25 years.
Crazy.
That's like,
Crazy to say.
yeah, that's around the time I say that like I started watching wrestling when I was about like 4 years old. So that might have been like late 99, like pushing 2000. This is when I felt like I started developing like memories of what was happening in WWE. So this is the year that like I really started like fucking with what was going on.
Mm.
Yeah, so my
Nice.
earliest memories, like this is back when I remember I was playing SmackDown 2, No Mercy. Like this year 2000 is when like I really do like remember what was going on. So that this is like my first real Royal Rumble that I was really fucking with when I was a wrestling fan.
And of course, Triple H is holding this beauty right here.
Yeah, dude.
Come on,
Yeah, that's one of my favorite belts of all time.
of all time.
Yeah, dude. Not none of that spinner shit. None of that John.
Look, I might have to do the rest like this
Yeah,
just to
do it,
let y'all
dude.
know.
Yeah, do it. I'm never gonna put this on YouTube, by the way, but you can do it if you want. No, I'm just kidding. Oh man, well that's what's up. DJ and Derek from the 3D Wrestling Podcast are back with me here. What you guys been up to lately over there on your show?
Man, we've been doing a lot to be honest.
Mhm.
Just outside of the podcast, more video editing, and then really we've been involved a lot in our local indie promotion. So we've been doing a lot of video production stuff, and then working, pretty heavily and pretty often with GCW.
Damn, that's what's up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
so that's been really dope. Like getting to see that shit like in person. Even speaking of a show like this, two people that was on the card recently, I was in the ring filming a segment with Kurt Angle and Mick Foley.
They were at
And
GCW.
Yeah,
yeah,
That's
a couple months
crazy.
back they were at GCW. So getting
Ricky
to even go
Starks.
back, Ricky Starks.
So yeah, man,
So
it's
what
been
you?
a lot of.
So what was that like?
I
Oh, that was
mean,
amazing.
it's been pretty dope. Um, I've been able to see firsthand some death matches. Uh, like ringside right there. So it's been a really cool experience for us for sure.
Derek mentioned that you guys were filming some stuff for GCW with like Kurt Angle and good old
Mick
Mick.
Foley.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that. Like, what was the filming about? Were they shooting a promo segment, or were you just was it content for GCW or?
Oh, it was like
Give us
live.
give us the scoop, man. Nah.
Oh no, it was like a live segment that happened at a recent show that took place at American Dream Mall here in Jersey. I believe they opened the show. I think that was the first
Yeah.
segment that happened. Yeah, they did a segment with I don't know if you know about this. You probably do. Blue Kane,
Yeah, of
Not
the
course.
whole
all.
He's
All
Kaneverse
things.
of like
he's
all the different Kanes. Yeah, they had like a
yeah.
little fun segment with like Blue Kane. So it was just like a small little fun thing, just for, like the fans, but getting to film that and see people that not only were on this card for Royal Rumble 2000, but were like on so many like countless like wrestling cards throughout like my wrestling fandom. I'm pretty sure all of our wrestling fandoms is just like something that was
Yeah.
really dope.
hmm So you guys, are you guys going to WrestleMania this year?
We gotta get back to you on
Yeah,
that.
we're
Because you
trying to
guys were out
figure it
there.
out.
Yeah, you guys were out there last year, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were. Yeah, we was out there last year. We trying to go, but the way these WWE ticket prices be looking these days,
I say if I'm gonna go this year,
okay.
but I'm like an 8 hour drive from Vegas.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if I wasn't going to Mania, I think I would still go for like the shit that they do outside of Mania, you
Oh, for
know?
sure.
Yeah.
For
Because
sure.
that's what you guys were out there grinding last year. I saw
Man,
during
Yeah.
Mania.
Taking the
the-
camera everywhere, trying to interview anybody that will talk to us. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
fun. That was like that was a really dope weekend.
Yeah,
yeah.
so you guys inspired me to go and do something.
Yeah.
Give me some tips though. Like, what's something that you guys are like, man, we should have done that while we were out there or something? Because I'm gonna be out there. I have no clue what I'm gonna do.
We unfortunately we missed the collective last year. So
Yeah.
that's Defy Wrestling Progress, GCW, JCW. Who else is a part of that? I think Marigold was out there.
Yeah.
Um, Missing some of the indie shows.
Mm.
Definitely, if you get the opportunity, go and see those. Because there's a lot of former, WWE stars or AEW stars.
Give me 1 second.
Mm.
But there's also, a bunch of just hardworking independent wrestlers.
Mm.
And a lot of great events that go on there. And don't be afraid to just go up and talk to people. 100% because everybody's normally, I mean, everybody was pretty friendly and everybody loves to be on camera. They love to talk about,
Mm.
the stuff they watch and, give their take on things, if you will. So definitely talk
Interesting.
to as many people as you can.
Interesting. All right,
Yeah, I
that
would have
sounds
the
cool.
exact same advice. Just talk to as many people. Don't be afraid to like ask anybody if they want to do a little interview, have a little conversation. Everybody there is a hardcore wrestling fan, so everybody down to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really some dope people to meet out there.
Okay. All right. Well, shit. That sounds like a good idea. We'll see how that goes. But other than that, let's get into these wrestling matches. The Royal Rumble 2000. Are y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
All of his stuff looked good, so probably too good because it was probably snug, but he was different in everything that he did. He locked up different. He locked up snug.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Snug Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
All right, y'all. Welcome back. My name is Edgar. I'm the host of the Snug Wrestling Podcast. The 3D podcast is here with us, DJ and Derek, and we're going to be going over the Rumble from 2000. And the opening match was a debut match, actually. It was Kurt Angle, and his surprise opponent was none other than the hometown hero, Taz from ECW. Holy shit, y'all. What a crazy way to kick off the show. An unexpected top guy from a different company showed up to the WWF because this was still WWF.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Madison Square Garden. And he blew the roof off the joint when he came out. Surprisingly, I'm gonna start with you, Derek. What do you remember most about how this show started?
I remember that like for like weeks there was like these like vignettes that would be like the heartbeat of like the little Taz tattoo pumping, popping, whatever you want to call it. And everybody was like so excited. It was almost like the second version of like the whole like Y2J countdown thing. Everybody was just waiting for it to happen when it came out. And when you just start hearing those little heartbeats before he came out, the crowd just erupted. Taz being from New York, obviously this East Coast area being a big place for ECW. I just remember how hyped everybody was to see Taz come out. I remember
Yeah.
I thought Taz was so dope. I'm sure like DJ would probably agree with me. As a little kid, I thought Taz was black. So
Mm.
I was super excited to see Taz make a debut. I was like, all right, this is my guy right here.
That's crazy. So they did have like that tease then where some people knew that Taz was gonna be there. This wasn't just like a random thing that just came
Mm,
out the blue.
Nah,
Okay.
nah.
Um
Yeah, there was some vignettes leading up to it, and just the debut itself. I mean, in MSG doesn't really get bigger than that.
Yeah, I always do this, man. I always jump ahead. But I should have mentioned that this Rumble was in the Madison Square Garden, and I looked up a few interesting facts that I found here and there from different websites like What Culture and what is it, the 411 Mania or 4L, some shit like that. So this Royal Rumble was the first ever WWE event in Madison Square Garden that drew over $1 million gate. I
Wow.
thought that was pretty interesting. And also, this was the first pay per view, WWE pay per view, to ever air in the UK. So, Y2K, man, was a big year for the WWE. And what a way to start, man. I remember watching this in real time. I was like, year 2000, I was 9 years old. But I remember this vividly because of that pop that Taz got.
yeah.
And I was just like, who the fuck is this guy? Like I'm 9 years old. I don't know what ECW is. And I'm just like, dude, I got chills when I saw Taz, dude. I'm like, this dude looks like a straight killer, dude. But yeah, it was fun. It was exciting to see Taz. I'm interested. I'm hooked in this match. And then the match starts, you guys. Thoughts on the match itself? What'd you guys think of Kurt Angle versus Taz?
I mean, for me, I can always go back and say, man, I wish this went a little longer. But I do think it was the perfect debut for Taz, and it also shows like there's this little ruthlessness, um, and just going for the what is now known as red rum because his son uses it, but the sleeper hold, which at the time I guess because it was a choke, it was banned, not supposed to be used. So I mean, I like the way the match turned out, and Kurt Angle takes some great suplexes.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like watching it, I thought that match was like some real graps. Just the
No.
suplex, it was like suplex city. Just all the overhead suplexes off the top rope, the insane belly to belly suplexes, the Taz plexes, the angle slam, just like all the moves. Like those was like real grappling that we were seeing in a match like that. And that's not something we saw too often in that era of WWE. It was still very sports entertaining. We didn't see too much of that type of wrestling happening. So I was really messing with it.
Yeah. I mean, watching this as a fan, like, you're like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, this is a dope ass match. And then later on, when you get older, you find out about all the shit that really happened in that ring. And it's interesting to mention, DJ pointed one of those things out. Taz's finisher, they kept the announcers, which was Jim Ross, Jerry the King.
Mhm.
It was just them two, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kept calling Taz's finisher, which is that choke, an illegal move. They were saying this is an illegal maneuver. He can't use that, can he? And apparently Taz didn't know about this. He wasn't told that he wasn't allowed to use it. He was kind of like misguided, is how Taz put it in that way. But did Taz ended up winning this one? He did with that choke, right?
Yeah, but I think they went back. So visually, he gets the win. But because
Yeah.
I think they go back and rule it a no contest, if I'm correct. Something like
Mm.
that.
Yeah, because at the time, I believe Kurt Angle had like an undefeated streak going,
Yep.
and I think technically he is given the match, or at least it's not given as a marked as a loss just yet for him. I don't know if they, I don't believe they did on the show. I think the next show, or Raw or SmackDown or wherever, they decide that it's gonna be a no contest.
And that was it, huh? For Taz and Kurt, it was just like a one and done. They didn't
It's
continue
one
the
zero.
feud. Yeah, it was just a one off. I found some quotes from Taz from an article from back in 2018 where he was talking about this match, and he had some shit to say. It was
Really?
crazy. Yeah, Taz. He said that this match was the best thing that happened to him, but also the worst thing that happened to him. So, Derek, you mentioned that this match was like Suplex City. Are you familiar with the story like after the match that happened with Taz and Kurt?
No.
So, DJ, what about you?
No, I haven't heard this.
So there's besides the thing that DJ mentioned about the choke, Taz not being told that it was an illegal hold. He thought that was kind of shitty for them not to tell, not to tell him not to use it or that it was going to be called an illegal choke. But Taz says that when he after the match he went back to Gorilla, no one was in Gorilla. Was usually that's like not a good sign. If no one is back there to like congratulate you or like thank you for having a match, that's probably not a good thing.
No.
Yeah, that's weird.
So apparently there was a German suplex that Taz hit on Kurt Angle that Kurt almost landed on his head.
Mm-hmm.
I
It
remember that. I remember that. I remember even marking that was a really close and risky German suplex.
it was a close
It was a
call.
very close call.
Yeah. Apparently the boss man, he who shall not be named, he was not happy about that.
Hmm.
He was not happy about that because it was Kurt Angle, it was his new young, shiny toy. So that was and some people believe that that was also the reason why Taz's push went the way that it went. He was like a top guy in ECW, but then he went off to I don't know, his WWE career wasn't that great. I think that's safe to say, right?
Yeah, no.
More than safe to
Better
say.
better career as a commentator in WWE than
Hmm.
actually being in the ring.
Yeah, that and he also kind of blamed Kurt a little bit. Taz, he was saying that at that time Kurt was really young. He wasn't. His timing was off. He wasn't the polished veteran that we all know and love today.
Right.
I
So
would
there's a
imagine
lot.
he debuted on TV like probably
Not
less than 6 months before.
100% less than 6 months before.
Yeah.
Okay, see, you got. That's why you guys are here because you guys know more about this shit than I do. See, when I go back and I watch these Kurt Angle matches, to me, he's just Kurt.
Mhm.
He's just always been great, but that's not really the case. So it was a much younger, greener Kurt
Mhm.
Angle, and Taz was he just came from fucking ECW, so I can only imagine the big differences there between those two guys.
Yeah.
But that was an opening match. Any final thoughts? Any closing thoughts about Kurt Angle and Taz for the Royal Rumble 2000?
Great debut.
I thought it was a great debut. One of like the best debuts WWF ever put on, honestly. It's a shame the rest of his career didn't follow that up, but great debut.
Yeah, dude. Like he went off and wasn't he like? I think he was wrestling like Jerry the King Lawler. and like doing like just silly shit, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, beefing with JR and
Damn, that's crazy. But yeah, they blamed that German suplex. They blame all of that on that one German suplex. Like, how fucking shitty is that, dude? Um, but yeah, moving on. We had a backstage promo, I believe, right, with the Hardy Boys with Terry Reynolds. This was when Terry Reynolds was with the Hardy Boys, which I completely forgot about that. What do you guys remember about that team there with the Hardys and Terry Reynolds?
I remember for a while them trying to find um, kind of a female counterpart to put in for the Hardys. Some would say a female heater in a way, but I mean that run was relatively short, right? Because I mean it might be the next year. Lita's rolling with them at that point, right?
The
Something like
next
that.
year,
I,
you could
I,
be right, dude. I have the worst memory when it comes to these things. That's why, like, I like to talk to other people about it because they can tell me how it really went down. So if you say a year, I believe you.
I think
I
I
say less
think
than a year, but I'd say within 2000 leaders with the
yeah,
Hardys.
Lita's with them.
Yeah, it was a lot of different managers moving around. I remember they were with Gangrel for the Brood, then they were with Michael Hayes for a little bit, and then they were with Terry, and then they were with Lita. The Hardy Boys had a lot of managers in a very short
Mhm.
period of time.
That's true. Yeah, Lita's my favorite because we talk about long term storytelling. That's where the feud between Edge and Matt all started right
All
there.
starts. Yeah.
2001, Lita joins the Hardy Boys, and it's all downhill from there. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Um,
And I remember it was like a tournament I think that the Hardys won to even get the services of Terry Reynolds to be their manager. And
No,
I remember
I think you're talking about that ladder match. They did
no, because I remember specifically the geniuses in WWF, they had something called the Terry Invitational Tournament.
that
What does
sounds
that spell?
familiar.
Look at you. That guy's good.
Yeah, and then they thought it was so funny that the acronym was what
Right.
it was, and
Wait,
that
what
was supposed
is
to be
it?
Terry Invitational Tournament. What is
What
Tit.
is that?
Tit.
Tit?
Ah, okay. I just wanted
Yeah.
I just wanted you guys to say it.
Ah!
But yeah, I remember that because I remember thinking that was really stupid, but I'm sure they thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And the
Yeah,
Hardy Boys
dude.
won it, and then she became their manager.
I mean, this is why WWF in 2000 was what it was because of shit like that. You know, good shit. Well, that's what's up, man. Yeah, that gives us a lot of feedback as to how this team got put together with the Hardys and Terry Reynolds. They look cool, by the way, together.
Classic,
Oh yeah.
classic Hardy attire.
Oh yeah, it's peak Hardys.
Yeah.
They're great.
Then again, anyone I feel like anyone that you put with the Hardys in that time would automatically just be over. Like they would just look cool with anyone, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So that takes us to the next match, which was the Hardy Boys versus the Dudleys in a tables match. And right off the top of my head, I'm thinking this pay-per-view was highly influenced by ECW because we go from the opening match with Taz, and then the second match is a ladder match with the. I'm sorry, it was a tables match?
It was
Was
a
it
Tables
tables
match.
match
It
with
was
the
a,
Dudleys.
it was a tables match with the Dudleys, and I'm thinking this has ECW written all over it.
Cactus Jack coming a little bit later in the show
Yeah,
too,
Old
but this is
Cactus.
this is very ECW centric.
I think
Yeah.
what they also debuted in '99, the Dudleys onto WWE TV.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, they brought the tables. We see a peak of a ladder getting involved in the match too.
Hmm.
Eventually, you know how that goes, where they'll set that up. But yeah, man, I like that. That's one of my favorite table matches. I think it has an iconic shot of Jeff towards the end of the match,
In the
uh,
crowd.
hitting that swanton for the win. But there's also some brutal just table spots happening during this match.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead,
DJ
Derek.
said it. Especially Devon was taking some insane chair shots at the hands of the Hardys. It was. I'm sure it was awesome back then watching it, but watching it now through like a 2025 lens, it was scary to watch. They were smacking the fuck at him with those steel chairs. It was crazy.
Yeah. This was it was an elimination tables match, I believe, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was weird. You had to in like table matches now, like one person or one team member goes through a table, that's the end of the match. For this, it was both team members had to go through the table, and I think it had to be interrupted. It had to be uninterrupted. So at that point, I think Bubba goes through a table, then Matt goes through a table, and then it's evened up at that point. So the next person goes through a table, that team wins.
Yeah,
Um,
cuz I believe Matt Hardy at one point put himself through a table. I think he
so
tried to go
Both
for like
Hardys
a
actually did.
yeah.
Derek,
So I was like, that should be it, right? Like,
It's so funny because we were just talking, me and DJ were just talking about it, and I was complaining too because I was like, "Why isn't the match over?" He had to explain to me why the match is still going.
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, I saw that. I was like, that's weird. But no, the other thing too, this match wasn't super long. Like
Mm-mm.
nowadays, we see table matches and like these hardcore matches that just go forever, and it just seems like, man, these guys, not one of them is gonna go down, no matter how many tables they go through. But this match, I felt like was the right amount of time for the type of shit that they were doing to each other, which was cool. And then the big holy shit moment was Hardy jumping off the balcony, right?
Jeff,
Yeah.
Jeff, iconic
Jeff
shot.
Hardy.
Iconic
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, and I think that's also a theme you see throughout the night, outside of the WWF Championship match, is that these matches prior to that match are pretty quick,
Mm-hmm.
and some of the people are they're pulled double duty, but for the most part, these matches aren't no longer than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If that.
Interesting. Yeah. So this was just the Hardys and the Dudleys. No Edge or Christian, but we saw some ladders. We saw some chairs. So we got a little tease of what's to come in the future. And I believe after this match, that's when Edge and Christian start getting involved, right?
Um, I think moving towards that summer, you start seeing them start getting involved more in the tag team picture,
Mm-hmm.
uh, with the Hardys and with the Dudleys, which then leads to everything else, as history unfolds.
That's
Yeah,
right.
because I
Yeah.
think the previous match that like put them on the map was at No Mercy, I believe the previous year. I think it was the Hardys versus Edge and Christian in a ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
So this was, I guess, like the second piece of the puzzle before we put it all together.
Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, just a couple fun facts about this match between the Dudleys and the Hardys. Matt Hardy, I caught some more quotes from him from back in 2002, where he said that this table match, drew $30,000. So they had to split it between the four guys. So they each got $7,500 apiece for that tables match at Madison Square Garden, which at the time Matt Hardy said he was cool with that. Um, I thought that was interesting. Like $1 million gate. No, it was like $1.4 million, and that match drew $30,000. So I'm interested. I'm wondering like how much money did the other matches make? But
Yeah.
that's probably a conversation for another time. The main focus that, and this is according to Matt Hardy from 2022. I think he was like talking on his podcast, Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. Is that the name of his podcast?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
So on there, he was saying that the main point that Vince McMahon wanted to get across was that he wanted to see his babyface team, which was the Hardys at the time, stand in the middle of the ring with their hands up after the match because it's Madison Square Garden, because this is a big deal. So for Vince McMahon, I said his name. I said I wasn't going to, but I did. Sorry.
You can bleep it out later.
Oh, Vinny
Yeah.
Mac.
That's too much. That's too much work. He insisted on that, right? But after Jeff Hardy did that big bump off the
Ooh,
balcony,
Jeff could not stand.
Jeff was selling the shit out of that thing.
Yes, there's
Eh,
a shot when, like I said, remember Matt Hardy's like carrying Jeff and he throws him over the barricade. When you see Jeff fall, it looks crazy.
Yeah. The funniest thing ever. You can see just Matt Hardy just like throws Jeff Hardy in the ring like the way that you would throw like your worst enemy, like get in there, picks him up and raises his hand and everything. It's so fucking funny. It's good shit, man. It's those things that, make wrestling so much fun. But yes, that was the match with the Hardys and the Dudleys. Tables match, Royal Rumble 2000. Closing thoughts on this one, fellas.
Man, fun, exciting, high paced. Some words.
Loved it. Probably my second best match of the night.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go over that too.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah, we could get-
some of the guests sometimes like to do star ratings for fun. What would you guys rate the first match with Kurt Angle and Taz out of 5?
We doing a star rating.
Just out of 5 stars. We're not gonna get crazy like Dave Meltzer that does out of like 13 stars or whatever he's on now.
I'm gonna give it a 3. The first opening match, Taz and Kurt, I'm gonna give it 3 stars.
I'm rolling with 3.
And then the Dudleys and the Hardys.
I give it a 4 or 5.
I'm giving it a 4.
4 at
4.
4.5. 4.5 for that
4.5.
match.
All right. I'll take it. So we go from, fun, exciting, high pace, high flying, high risk to not so much. We had a triple threat match. The Intercontinental Championship was on the line for the third match. Hardcore Bob Holly
Yes, sir.
versus China versus Jericho. 3 of the most randomest names that you can put together. At least that's what it seems like. And Chris Jericho, I believe, was a champion during this time, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Co.
He's a co-champion at this time with China. They were both sharing the belt.
Okay.
Going
What
into
was that about?
At the previous pay-per-view, I cannot remember who they beat.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember it was like a simultaneous pinfall between both
Mhm.
China and Chris Jericho.
Mhm.
So they had to share the championship for a while. I remember Chris Jericho apparently hated this. It was like a whole thing like with politicking backstage. Like I think Triple H was all in favor of China holding the title with him. He was very upset by it, but yeah.
I completely skipped something very, very crucial and important in this Royal Rumble 2000. We
Oh.
can't talk about the triple threat match without talking about the good old fashioned bikini contest, y'all.
I was hoping you'd skip past that. When you said triple threat, I was like, oh, thank God he's not going to talk about the Miss Rumble segment.
It's
Let's keep
not
going.
the WWF without a good old fashioned bikini contest, y'all.
Listen, man, I made a point to say that I think I have seen so much of Jacqueline, it's not even funny.
What do you mean?
It's not even funny. But
What do you mean you've seen?
what? Jacqueline was everywhere at the time.
She was everywhere? What do you mean she was everywhere?
I mean, she was, I'm just saying she was one of them.
If you were watching WWF at the time, you can see a lot of Jacqueline.
You've seen a lot of Jacqueline.
Like she was on TV a lot?
You could say that.
You can say that.
A lot of her was on TV.
A lot of her. I don't get it.
It's fine.
Ah,
I'll tell you when you're
okay.
older.
I'm just trying to get y'all canceled now at this point. So we had a surprise contestant for this bikini contest, and of course, who else is gonna be the judge of this whole thing? None other than Jerry the King Lawler, of course. And yeah, Mae Young was a surprise contest, and she ended up winning this thing, but not before.
She revealed a little too much.
Did she? Because it was I was watching it on the Peacock and it was censored, but
Thank God it was censored.
I imagine back in 2000 pay-per-view it probably wasn't.
Nah.
And I don't remember this, thank God.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those memories that have just
Blocked
went
out.
away. You don't even know it happened until you go back and rewatch it.
Exactly.
Derek is looking a little sus over there. I have a feeling Derek has the original tape, and he's been watching that thing since.
Oh my God.
So Derek, be honest. Was Mae Young really out there like that, or was it just censored?
I believe that it's censored in every way.
Even in the original tape.
Even in the original tape, I don't think that
that
WWE would still be here if that wasn't censored.
So you admit that you do have the original tape.
Got him.
Yeah.
Got him.
Okay. Damn. But yeah, that happened at the Royal Rumble in a pay-per-view by unanimous decision. Mae Young won that one, but Miss Royal Rumble 2000, Mae Young. I think we got to bring those back, y'all.
Yeah, the most prestigious title on the line at the show.
Yeah. All right. That was fun to mention. But yeah, going back to the triple threat match with Chyna, Bob Holly, and Jericho, Intercontinental title. Yeah, you're right. This was for the co-championship, and Chris Jericho was super over during this time. He got a huge pop. What do you guys remember about Chris Jericho around this time?
I mean, the debut first and foremost. Me and Derek recently watched, or Derek and I recently watched the 99 Rumble. And, as we're watching that, I'm just thinking about everything that's about to happen in that year leading up to that 2000 Rumble. And you get the debut of the Dudleys, you get the debut of Chris Jericho, and the whole millennial, everything that's going to happen. Him going with The Rock winning two titles that year, right? Or no, he won that championship at the 99 Rumble. And that year for 99 was so great that 2000 kind of had no choice but to be so successful in that sense. And for Chris Jericho, as soon as he came in there to the WWF at the time, and just making the impact that he did, and not too long after, he's undisputed champion.
He's holding that title that's on your shoulder.
He's holding this title.
Yeah, dude.
Title,
that was that's one of the titles he was holding.
If I'm correct. Wasn't he also holding this title?
You're gonna come over here. You're gonna come over here flexing on people. Look
I'm
at this
just
guy.
saying. Now I'm Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Now you're he was holding both of those.
Yeah. At the time, 2000, Chris Jericho was like the coolest wrestler in the world. Everybody and their mother loved Chris Jericho. He was funny. He was great in the ring. Him being Intercontinental Champion just made sense.
DJ, if you're gonna hold both of those titles, you have to defend them.
Listen, I'm prepared to defend these titles any place.
I'll take those from
now.
you.
Y'all gotta link up Mania weekend. Defend the titles.
Hey, you gotta put those up in the Subway Mania, dude.
We can do it any place, anytime.
Damn. Sorry for cutting you out, Derek, but I couldn't help
That's
myself.
all good.
Go ahead.
But I was just saying like how like big Chris Jericho was like in 2000, how big his debut was. I still to this day will call it the greatest debut in WWE history. So just him being in the year 2000, I don't know if there was anybody cooler to be a fan of than Chris
Hmm.
Jericho.
Yeah, I hated him.
What'd you hate? In
He beat
2000, you hated Chris Jericho?
no after he won the undisputed championship because
Oh
he
yeah,
beat my two favorite guys ever in the whole entire world.
yeah. Hmm.
And I didn't really care too much for Jericho, honestly. Um, but looking back at it, I can understand why the people liked him. But I was 9 at the time, so if it wasn't The Rock or Austin or Kane or The Undertaker, I didn't really care about the other
But nah,
people,
you got in early, honestly. You invested in that whole fuck Chris Jericho stocks years ago because that it's all the rage now not to like Chris Jericho. You got in early.
Yeah, dude, yeah. And I
25
was
years
like,
later.
man.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Chris Jericho in this match, he made China look great in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Hardcore Holly too. They both did a really good job to make China look like an equal, like as an
She
actual
belongs.
competitor in this thing.
Yep.
Um, and also the other thing I noticed about this match was that China was really protected. Like if you guys did you guys notice that whenever she would get hit or when Hardcore Holly or Jericho would go to like, punch her or give her a forearm, it was like very, very light. It was
Mm-hmm.
very, very light. So China was very protective there. But that's what I thought about the match. What did you guys think about this match overall?
I got the vibe watching the match that Hardcore Holly wasn't too keen on working with China. I don't know if there's anything to that, if there was any interviews, if he mentioned that. I just felt like there was very minimal interaction between those two specifically. It seemed like Jericho and Holly took like the brunt of the match and Dave took most of the time like wrestling. Like you said, most of the time when China would come in, it'd just be a little light forearm, something that would just like knock her out for like most of the time before it comes back for her next spot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like how I saw it. I'm not sure if there was anything to that. Maybe she just, let's be real, she wasn't the greatest worker in the ring. So maybe it was like that to protect her, but it just gave me the vibe that she wasn't the most popular person in the match to be worked with, especially by somebody like Hardcore Holly.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
DJ?
no, I agree. I definitely agree. Definitely a quick match. I think it runs maybe somewhere around 8 minutes and like 30 seconds. Very
Mm-hmm.
quick, kind of straight to the point though. What you want out that match? Essentially,
Yeah.
is for me.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard Chris Jericho talk about working with China many times, but I haven't really looked into it much. I'm curious to see or to know what Hardcore Holly has to say about this. I would love a podcast or something like that with Hardcore Holly. Can you imagine like all the crazy shit that fool would say?
I can only imagine.
Huh?
Literally, he has probably has stories for days. And to me, he does.
Almost definitely.
I could be totally wrong about this. So if I am, I'm sorry, hardcore Holly, but he doesn't seem like somebody who wants to um, work a one-on-one match with the women. I'm just not gonna lie.
No, he's
I get the
definitely
same
old
vibe.
school. He's
Right.
definitely old school. Yeah, and you're probably right about that. When it comes to like Chris Jericho, I found some stuff that Chris Jericho said about this match. How I guess Chris Jericho totally blanked on one of the spots because he said that working with China, you have to map out every move, like move by
Mhm.
move, or else she would like not get it. She would be lost. She wasn't like the type of wrestler that can just go out there and call shit on the fly,
Hmm.
which is like a very old school thing to do. And I guess one of the spots Chris Jericho forgot, excuse me, and I guess Hardcore Holly had to like very like clearly yell at him and say like bulldog her dumbass or something like that. And then Jericho was like, if Holly didn't tell me that, he's like, I probably would still be standing there thinking like, what the fuck do I do next type of thing. So yeah, very weird dynamic here between these three. But you guys remember what happened afterwards between Jericho and China? Did they go on to continue whatever like the co-champion thing that they were doing?
No, at that point, Chris Jericho becomes sole owner of the title.
Yeah.
So
Undisputed Intercontinental Champion.
yeah,
And
Okay.
then he goes on to, I'm not sure if it's immediately after, but he gets like his three-way feud with both the Intercontinental and the European Championship with Kurt Angle and he who shall not be named.
Mm. Yeah, okay. For sure. Well, that was it for the Intercontinental Championship. The Rock, pretty sure he wasn't the champion. He was becoming the champion still, right? The Rock, or about to become the champion.
He was in
He was in the Royal Rumble.
He was in the Rumble.
He was in the Rumble.
The year prior, he wins the title at 99.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then loses it at that Mania to Stone Cold.
Yes.
I think he spends the rest of the year trying to chase.
Yeah, I don't think he has held the title since then.
Yeah.
Either way, this is 4 years after his debut in '96 Survivor Series, and he is over as fuck. Like the people,
same building,
like yeah,
same building. And I mean, he's the Rock.
Yeah.
He's the Rock.
Peak Rock.
Peak Rock for sure.
Yes.
Peak Rock. Yeah. So that was cool to see. Great promo, vintage stuff, huge pop, really entertaining stuff. And then we go on to the next match, which I believe was a tag team match: the Outlaws versus
Acolytes.
The
Acolytes. They weren't the APA just yet.
Nah.
But
right?
What's that?
Still in the ministry at that time?
Not ministry yet.
Sure.
I mean, not yet. Yet is the wrong word. Not ministry anymore. I think this is just kind of a weird middle period because Undertaker's gone at this point. He's injured.
That's right.
So they're just the Acolytes. They have the look of the APA. They're kind of ass kickers. They're not really too like devilish or whatever. They just haven't developed the beer drinking bar brawlers gimmick yet.
Bodyguards.
Yeah, protection agency gimmick yet.
Yeah. Yeah, so but I mean there wasn't really too much to this match. Do you guys know why this match was put together?
I believe that they won the Acolytes won a tag team battle royal of some sorts. And I believe the previous time they faced the Outlaws, they beat the hell out of them. They win this tournament to face them at the Rumble. And there's a cool video package that plays right before the match, kind of outlining everything and kind of how the New Age Outlaws are scared or they have some fear of facing them because of how hard they hit and all these things. And probably the quickest match of the night, they go and beat them.
Yeah, that match could not have hit 3 minutes. It was so short. It was in and out.
Probably 4:30. Yeah, quick match.
Yeah, I tried to look in to see like if there was any more to it, but I couldn't really find too much info on this. But either way, even if it was a short match, there wasn't like really a huge build up to this. It's still fun to see the Acolytes. Those are like some of like the hardest hitting tag teams during that time. Man. So it's always cool to see them go at it. The Outlaws, they stole the win after X-Pac got involved when the referee was down after taking a bump. So some classic stuff here that we
Some
saw.
DX shenanigans, little DX
Some
shit there.
yeah, some shenanigans. That's right. That's right. Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Is there anything else that we're forgetting to mention? I think we covered everything for this tag team match.
That match,
Yeah, I think there wasn't really much
that's
to
it.
it. In and out.
All right, cool. So we go on to what a lot of people call one of the best hardcore matches that they've ever seen, and it is Cactus Jack versus Triple H. But I want to start talking about the build up first before we get into the match, because I think the build up to this was one of the greatest build ups to a hardcore match ever, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys remember from this build up? What were some of your favorite moments leading up to this?
I like that this really kicks off that the McMahon Helmsley era. Um, just showing that now Triple H has some power here. I like that a lot, and not really granting Mick Foley a shot at the title until the locker room comes out and says like, "Okay, you need to do this, or like none of this shit's gonna fly." Um, and The Rock being the one to stand up for mankind at the time to get him that match against Triple H. I think it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought the build was fantastic. I think this was a storyline that was still establishing Triple H as a main eventer
Mm-hmm.
because he had just won. It's been a while since then, since he won his first world title. I think that was August of '99 that he won his first world title. So right now we're in January of 2000. I still feel like a lot of people were a little bit iffy. Like this mid carder from DX is trying to get pushed up to the main card. They weren't buying it as much. So I feel like this is the storyline that was Triple H's arrival into the main event.
For sure.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we can take this guy seriously. Like he's a good villain that we can really want to pay money to see somebody make him bleed like Cactus Jack.
Yeah, for sure, dude. They showed a video package before the match that pretty much explained this whole entire thing, and it was said that it was gonna be Cactus Jack. You're not gonna be facing Foley or Mankind, or it's gonna be Cactus Jack, which Triple H sold like $1 million. Like it was like this unexpected thing, and again, it goes back to what we said earlier. Very ECW thing to do here, bringing Cactus Jack in a street fight like this one. And these two fucking they went crazy on each other. They went at it, and this is another thing too why Mick Foley's so great, because yes, he is playing multiple characters. It's the same guy, but you can tell when he was going into this match as Cactus Jack, his face expressions were different. Like this was a different Foley. This wasn't even Foley. This wasn't Mankind.
No.
This was Cactus Jack. Like this
Yeah.
was a different game, was it not?
No, 100%. I think there's one point in the match they're in the little rampway, and Foley's like begging Triple H to just hit him, bloody mouth, and you look at his face, and like you said, that's not Mick Foley, that's not Mankind, that's not Dude Love. You can see that is clearly Cactus Jack, and I think the way Mick Foley is able to just convey that through those different characters, through those facial expressions, through just like simple movements. The way he moves in and out the ring feels different than Mankind coming out the ring or Dude Love coming out the ring. Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. He does a hell of a job.
Yeah. And I think the way that he can get all of these characters over is something that's extremely admirable too, because the fact that he can be Mankind, everybody loves him, and just him taking off his mask and his dirty ass white shirt could get the crowd to erupt when they see that Wanted Cactus Jack t-shirt shows that he can get any character over. Like Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Mankind, Mick Foley, like all four of these names can get their own individual like eruption from the crowd. They all can buy into those like individual characters played by the same man.
Right.
Yeah, speaking of, all of his individual characters, I think this Rumble in 2000. I read somewhere, I believe it was What Culture, that said this was the third face of Foley that got a title shot on a pay-per-view. So all three of Mankind's characters had title shots at one point.
Yeah.
Mankind wrestled Shawn Michaels in 96. Dude Love wrestled Austin in 98. And then in 2000, Cactus Jack wrestled Triple H. And I'm like, that's fucking crazy.
That's insane to think about. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Foley,
So,
what's that sign? Foley is God. That guy's pretty good. I don't know if he's God, but he's pretty good.
That's got to
Foley's
be
good.
That's got to be some sort of record, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone else has done anything like that.
I mean,
Most characters played by one person going for a world title, it's got to be.
not only that, but all three of them have also been in the Royal Rumble.
The same Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and the same night. Oh, that's funny. God, that's what's up. But even then, dude, Cactus Jack was in his element. He did all that he could, even with the thumbtacks and even with the help from The Rock, because didn't The Rock get involved in this match?
The Rock gets involved with a chair shot to Triple H, but prior to that, and I will always give Triple H his flowers for this, because I think he's one of the toughest wrestlers, just in general. He punctures his calf on a suplex, and man, it's nasty. I think he talks about this later on, that by the end of that match, his boot is completely soaked in blood. From just like the blood just pumping out and rolling right down through his sock, through his boot. He said his boot was freezing cold. Like, that's how he felt.
That's fucking gross.
And
he
completes the match. Crazy to think about.
Yeah, even when you watch it, I can't like not look at it and like all the blood that's like going out. And you mentioned before that like The Rock's interference, that like there was so much going on in the match that like even The Rock came through. Something that I actually really appreciated that part of the match, seeing it now, because we recently watched the '99 Rumble too. So it was almost poetic in a way that when Cactus Jack was handcuffed and being hit with a steel chair by Triple H, the same thing The Rock did a year prior. The Rock is the one that comes out to put a stop to it.
Oh yeah.
That, I don't know if that's what they had in mind when they do it, but if they did, long-term booking, that was something that I thought that was actually really dope to see.
For sure.
Damn, that didn't even cross my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that you guys know that much about this shit, man. Y'all need to get lives, bro. No, oh, that's what's up. Yeah, dude. Triple H got put over in a major way in this match. Even after all of that, he hit. By the way, Triple H was bleeding buckets of blood, like
from his face. It was crazy.
And apparently from his calf too, which I didn't know about that. But goddamn, he got the pin here over good old Cactus. Turned out I read something that I guess Cactus Jack was not supposed to kick out of the first pedigree because there was 2 pedigrees at the end there.
In the nails, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thumbtacks.
Yeah, and Cactus was like, he kicked out. And poor Triple H, he was probably like, oh, fuck, man, I just want to end this.
Trying to get
I
out
just
of
want to go. Yeah. And Cactus is like, nah, do it again on the thumbtacks. And I guess that's how the legend goes. And Triple H hits Cactus with another pedigree on the thumbtacks. And that's how he gets the win. But man, fucking crazy match before the main event, you know, with the crazy build up. And it was a fucking it was a dope match to go back and watch. I really enjoyed rewatching this.
Mm-hmm. Very, I
Yeah.
mean, Cactus Jack, and like I said, that move set that he kind of changed. Mick Foley does such a good job.
He said it. Moveset.
But the way Mick Foley can convey these moves to his different characters, and they all feel different, although they're the same move. You're gonna get the elbow drop. You're gonna get the run into the knee into the stairs. All these things, but every time he does it as a different character, they feel different. And the way he conveys that with Cactus Jack is great. Like, I can't give any more flowers to this match than I have. If we're giving this stars,
Yeah.
it's a 5-star for me.
I was just about to say it's definitely a 5-star match for me. And on top of that, this would easily be entered into my top 5 favorite matches of all time.
Oh, for sure.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, I
That's
love
what's
this
up.
match. I cannot speak it up enough.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, cool. Right on, fellas. Let's move on to the main event. Was the Royal Rumble 2000. And usually when I review the Royal Rumbles, I ask the guests, like, who do you remember that was in this Rumble? But you guys just watched it, so I'm not going to ask you guys that question. So I'm just going to list them all. I'm just going to say them all. So we had D'Lo Brown at number 1, Grandmaster Sexay, Headbanger Mosh, Kai and Tai.
Now,
Chris-
Kai weren't officially in the match. That was their story going in here.
Oh, that's right, unofficially, because they would run in and out just randomly in the Royal Rumble. That's true. We had Christian, Rikishi, Scotty Too Hotty, and they had a cool little moment there. Scotty, Too Cool, yeah, where they did their little gimmick thing. Steve Blackman, Viscera, Big Boss Man, Tess, the British Bulldog, Gangrel, Edge, Bob Backlund,
Yep.
Jericho, Crash Holly, China. We got Farouk, the Posse. Were they in it?
I think they came out and
They interfered, similar to Kai and Tai. They just came out to interfere.
Okay. Road Dogg, Al Snow, Val Venus, Albert, aka A-Train, or what was his other name again? The Asian gimmick.
Lord Tensai.
Lord Tensai, Hardcore Holly, The Rock, who got a huge pop.
Huge.
Billy Gunn, Big Show, Bradshaw, Kane, The Godfather, X-Pac. And that was it. X-Pac was number 30, I believe, right?
Yeah, going into this Rumble, Rock makes a guarantee that he is going to come out the winner of the Rumble. He is currently having some issues with the Big Show. But I find that guarantee very funny because it's in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And the last man to make a guarantee in New York was Joe Namath, and he went and won a Super Bowl in 1968 for the New York Jets. So that's your connection for the Rock staying, making a guarantee in New York. Little fun fact for you guys.
Okay. Was that like a known thing then at that time? Like were people in the arena or something like making that connection or something? He
was mentioning it, but if you are a New Yorker or you're a Jets fan for sure, you know about, well, just in general, the guarantee. And that was Joe Namath, getting in the interview and saying, I guarantee we're going to win the Super Bowl.
It's a New York thing. Cool.
It's a New York thing.
Well, then fuck me then, right? All right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys. Well, first, how are we gonna do this? Because so much shit went down in this Royal Rumble. I guess I want to start off by, I guess, listing off some of the things that I learned afterwards about this Royal Rumble. So there was 8 substitutions um, for this Rumble match. There was 8 names that were removed that were originally supposed to be in this Rumble, and
Hmm.
there was the Mean Street Posse,
Okay.
Kai and Tai, Midian, Headbanger Thrasher, and Mark Henry. Those names were originally supposed to be in this Royal Rumble, and they were replaced by Jericho, China, Holly, um, the Acolytes, the Outlaws, and Bob Backlund. I couldn't really find the reason as to why they were replaced, but I guess that's actually what happened. So I thought it was weird that they would add China and Jericho and Holly if they were already on the card. They were already in the previous match. Like, why not let these other people, get on TV? I thought that was kind of weird.
It is weird also considering that it seems like most of the people you named were on the
Already,
show anyway.
already had a match.
Kai
It
and
does
Tai
seem
interfered, the Mean Street Posse interfered, Mark Henry was out during the whole Mae Young thing to cover her up. So it seems like these people was on the show. So it seems weird that
Hmm.
they were not put in the Rumble, but I don't know.
the
Yeah.
WWE's big thing at the time was people pulling double duty that night.
Mm,
Um, and it's like very apparent especially through '99. It's something they continuously mention. And then putting China back in the Rumble after her first year being the '99 Rumble, and that was made a big deal. So uh, I get it, but I mean that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
mm.
Also, there was a pretty scary spot in this Rumble where someone got injured pretty badly. Do you guys remember who that was?
Taka Michinoku.
Taga Michinoku, and it was mentioned during the match a couple times that he was sent to I don't remember if they said hospital or medical facility, one of those two. But it turned out that that was real.
Yep,
He was really carried out to fucking get looked at after that ugly bump.
he took a nasty bump.
And they played it like 3 or 4 times throughout the Rumble. So I don't know if they felt that bad about it. They sure enjoyed showing us smack his face on the floor.
You got a
Nah,
bet.
yeah, dude. Yeah, he was they sent his ass flying, poor guy.
That
But
was
hey,
rough.
yeah, I mean I thought I know he got hurt pretty bad, but I didn't think I'm like, oh, they kept playing it, so he's all right,
That's what I would thought.
Yeah,
Nope.
yeah. You know what they didn't play though a whole lot was the finish of this Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Okay, I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah. So
I'm
here, let me get some context here because the last 4 men of this Royal Rumble was Kane, Big Show, The Rock, and X Pac.
mhm.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Even like beyond that, like X-Pac surprisingly eliminated Kane, which blew me away. But Giant Gorilla Press, I think was Big Show eliminating X-Pac out of the ring. But then I'm not sure if this has been edited on Peacock. Maybe it was different when you watched the original one. So I could be wrong. But with the one that I watched on Peacock, they show both the original ending and a replay, and in neither of which they show the angle where the Rock's feet hit the ground.
Because there is a replay where you can clearly see
That he
that
touched
his
the
feet
ground
hit the
first.
ground, right?
Yes, and it becomes an entire storyline. It leads to a match at the next pay-per-view, No Way Out, between The Rock and Big Show for the #1 contendership. Maybe in the original airing, you see that angle, but in the version I watched, you don't see anything. So, had I not known that happens, I would think The Rock just won the match.
I'm pretty sure that they did in the original one. I'm pretty sure they
In the
played.
original, you do see his feet hit the ground.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they
Okay,
played
if that's the
multiple
case,
angles
then
of
all
that.
right. Okay, if that's the case, then then I could take everything back. But in the version I watched that they have currently on Peacock and probably Netflix and all that, I didn't see anything.
Which tells you that that was not supposed to happen if it got
Oh,
edited
absolutely
out of
not.
Peacock. You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely not.
Yeah, it was a crazy finish. The Rock and Big Show were the last two men. The Rock won, but they both go over the top rope, and The Rock was supposed to hold on, but I guess The Rock's feet
Yeah.
still touched the ground first, and then Big Show hit the floor. But The Rock still got the win at this Royal Rumble, which got a huge pop. DJ, you said it. The Rock promised this, and it happened. And The Rock goes to face. He goes to WrestleMania now after this, right?
Yes, but this is WrestleMania 2000, so this is the McMahons in every corner fatal four-way match. Who is it? Steph. Steph has Triple H. Linda has Mankind, right? Shane has Big Show, and then Vince has The Rock.
Yeah. Second Vince match, and let's go.
Yeah.
Nice. One last final fact here before we get out of here. This pay-per-view, this Royal Rumble, was actually the last U.S. pay-per-view by the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. So that was the last time he was on WWE pay-per-view. And since 89 up until 2000, there was always that one guy in the Rumble that would outlast everyone in the Rumble. Like, they would be in it by, over 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever the case. In this Royal Rumble, no one went over, or no one was in the Rumble for more than 30 minutes.
Wow.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And that was like a first for them for like 11 years, since 89 up until 2000. And that was the Royal Rumble 2000, y'all.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy stuff, man. This was a dope show.
I think it was a really good peek into what the Attitude Era looked like at this time
Absolutely.
without Stone Cold being there, without Stone Cold and Taker.
Or The Undertaker. The Undertaker, he shows up at Judgment Day, but what year was that? Was that the same year, or was it I can't
It was
remember
this year.
which year. It was the same year?
Yeah, same here.
Okay. That was one of my favorite ones right there. I remember that day vividly,
I
But
love that.
2000, man. 2000 was a big deal for WWF. For sure. For sure. Just like it was a big deal having you guys back on here. I had a lot of fun with you guys tonight, y'all. So thank you for that. But before we get out of here, is there anything you want to plug, or plug your socials? Tell them where they can find you.
Well, with TikTok going away, potentially.
Ah, damn it.
I know. Man, follow us on YouTube. I believe we're 3D Wrestling Podcast on YouTube. 3D Wrestling Pod on Instagram. And we have some exciting content coming soon. I can promise you that. Exciting content coming soon. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And also follow us on X, 3D Wrestling Pod. Derek, do you have anything else?
I think you covered it, man.
Yeah.
Follow us on all the socials. We got some exciting new shows where it's going to be more than just a podcast, what we like to say. And we're going to be showing that full effect in this new year. So I'm very excited.
You're going to be showing a whole
maybe
lot of
some
you guys?
special guests we can't talk about.
Not the same way Mae Young and Jacqueline were showing a whole lot of themselves.
Oh, okay. What were you saying?
Special guests we can't talk about yet? Is that something we can say?
If you want to tell them, you can tell them.
I'm not saying anything yet. You guys will see.
Yeah, they'll see.
All right, fine. Whatever then. It's good. Yeah, it's good. No, I appreciate y'all. Thank you to everyone that was watching and listening and commenting. I didn't even read the comments, but it's all good. My name is Edgar. I'm the host of Snug Wrestling, and we will talk soon. Later.